Let's talk about self-condemnation. It is February and we have made it through the first month of 2021, and maybe you're dealing with some condemnation, right? Maybe you hadn't been able to keep that New Year resolution like you thought, or those new changes you wanted to make, you hadn't done it, and new habits haven't been formed, and maybe you feel some self-condemnation. Here's the truth: condemnation is strong in our lives, not because of the voices on the outside, but because of the voice on the inside. Our inner voice has the greatest power in our lives. You know, if I were to say some of the things that you say to yourself, man, you would fight me. But yet we repeat it over ourselves continually, and ultimately, self condemnation holds us in a prison. It never helps us move forward. It just tells us we deserve what we deserve. Stay put. You are your failures, you are your mistakes. You are always going to be this way. It offers zero hope, and it's not helpful at all. You know, there's many practical tips to overcome condemnation, but ultimately nothing compares to the hope that we find in Christ Jesus. Christ gives us the ability to overcome our past, to overcome our failures, to overcome our fears. He gives us a new life. And that's why Romans 8:1 says, "There is therefore now no condemnation for those that are in Christ Jesus." That word condemnation there literally means the word penalty. A lot of times when we make mistakes, when we have failures in our lives, we feel like it caused a setback. It caused a penalty to take place. It caused a thing that we have to rework ourselves back up. And especially even in our relationship with Jesus, we think because I sinned, now I have to rework this relationship with Christ and get back to some type of normal with him, because we take that from our other relationships where if we hadn't been in a good status with someone, we feel like we got to rework it again and get back up there, and so we feel like we get a setback every time we fail. Now, the word penalty there is the same for condemnation, but let's take it for example in a football game. You have refs that will take a flag out and they'll throw a flag on the play, and they'll throw a penalty on a certain team if there was offsides, if there was a false start, if there was a pass interference. That team will get a penalty, and ultimately they will lose ground. They lose yardage, and they have a lot harder to work and a lot further to go than they did before. And that's how we think in our relationship with Christ. That's how we think a lot of times about ourselves. Man, we condemn ourselves. There's a huge setback, and now I got a whole lot more to work on. But in Christ Jesus, there is no penalty. Why? Because Jesus already paid the price for the penalty of your sin. So therefore, you don't lose ground in Christ, but instead, you simply have to get up. You have to rise. The righteous fall down 7 times, but they get back up. And you are called to be a child of God. Rise into your identity today and silence that voice of condemnation.